Unafraid Show College Football Mailbag Week 8. These are the questions that you guys sent to IMMAD at unafraidshow.com or hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, or anywhere else at George Wrighster or at Unafraid Show. Today, huge mailbag. You guys brought the heat. So we got to talk about the University of Texas getting fined. We got to talk about who needs a bigger apology, Marcus Freeman or Deion Sanders. We got to talk about everything going on in the ACC and how the SMU forfeited $200 million and they might win the damn conference. And so much more here on the Unafraid Show Mailbag. Make sure that you like, subscribe, tell a friend about the show. Let's get to it. First question in the mailbag. University of Texas got fined $250,000 for the students throwing garbage on the field. Plus, the SEC is making Texas identify and ban everybody that threw something on the field. Does this punishment fit the crime? Yes, 100%. And the SEC has also threatened to ban alcohol sales at Texas games if this happens. Again, love it. Love it. Because they had no business doing that. And then, truthfully, it impacted the outcome of the game. Yes, the officials made the wrong call with that pass interference. But explain to me how. They huddled up, called it pass interference, and then they had marked the spot ready for play, fans throwing stuff on the field. And then it gets reversed. And I'm sitting there like, it was the wrong call, but how did you reverse it? How? And then you got dudes like Emmanuel Acho out here talking about, oh, hey, Texas fans, it wasn't right, but you did the right thing. No matter what you got to do, go on. Hook them. Like, what? It's a dangerous element for the fans, and Texas administration is taking this very seriously, as they should. Quote, while we deeply appreciate the passion and loyalty of our fan base at the University of Texas, Austin, we don't condone the unsportsmanlike conduct that was exhibited by some individuals throwing objects onto the field during last night's game, and sincerely apologize to the University of Georgia players, coaches, fans, as well as the Southeastern Conference and officiating crew. This type of behavior will not be tolerated. And they go on and on about the steps that they are going to take. Yes, you can't have your fans out there doing stuff like this. This is outrageous, man. This is like European soccer level stuff, and you can't have this going on, because if you allow it and you do not punish them, this will only accelerate, and it may not be just at the University of Texas. It'll accelerate somewhere else. It absolutely will if you do not punish these people. All right, second question in the mailbag. Oklahoma State was predicted to compete for the Big 12, but they're 0-4 in the conference, and now the defense can't tackle. How do you fix tackling issues? It is a major problem. Major problem. Number one, you can't fix tackling issues during the regular season. You can improve them, but you can't fix them. This is a mentality. This is a way you practice. This started back in spring ball. Actually, in fact, this started last season. Stuff was getting a little loosey-goosey, and they missed it. They have absolutely missed it. And now getting people to re-buy in, and then it's like, if you let your kid come in at any point in time, a night, no curfew, no nothing, and then you come in the house and be like, listen, everybody's going to be in this house by 10 o'clock. Kids like, what the hell are you talking about, man? This ain't how we've been running this program. So it's going to take a long time to actually fix it. And case in point, when they played against West Virginia, the Jaheim White forced 11 tackles earlier this month. 11 against Oklahoma State. So we knew that this was an issue. It was obvious. It was on tape. And then when you look at the missed tackles at the end of the BYU game on that final drive, Darius Lassiter for BYU made 3 people miss on the game-winning play. And all you needed to do was tackle him, get him on the ground. The game is over. It was a very, very bad look. Very bad look. Because there's nothing that the coaches can just say to the players. This is an entire shift in mentality. It is a shift in toughness and game planning and how you practice. So that takes a long time to fix. All right, number 3. Miami is 7-0, but to be honest, how many warts are being covered up by Cam Ward's play? This dude is absolutely saving the Miami team right now against Virginia Tech, Cal, and then in this last week too, they needed the ACC Command Center to save them. They've given up 34 points, 38 points, and then 40-something points against middle of the road offenses. And then the last game was Louisville. I think they gave up 45 to Louisville. What are we doing here? But here's the thing. Their scoring defense is basically the same as it was last year so far. They're only giving up 15 less yards per game than last season. But now let's look at the Cam Ward factor. He already has 7 more combined rushing and passing touchdowns than Tyler Van Dyke had in 2023. And 1 more passing touchdown than the entire Miami team threw in 2023. So, because remember, Tyler Van Dyke got hurt toward the middle end of the season last year. And last year, Miami got outscored 15-3 in the fourth quarter last year against Louisville, which was one of their 4 one-score or less losses. And this year, they have 49 points in their last 3 fourth quarters combined, and they're 3-0 in those games. And those games were decided by a total of 12 points. So, yes, it is Cam Ward. And him being so good has actually allowed Miami's running game to be better. They're averaging 5.6 yards per carry, which is the best that they've been able to do in recent times. So it is good on them. All right, number 4. Once Tennessee took a 21-17 lead on Alabama, Kalen DeBoer's offense ran 11 total plays the rest of the game for 3 total yards and an interception. Who gets the blame here, or does Tennessee's defense deserve the credit? Wow. Kalen DeBoer is an offensive genius, right? And I do believe the dude is a really good coach. He did great at Sioux Falls, did great at Fresno State, did phenomenal at Washington, all in short order. But what's going on with Jalen Milroe right now? It looks bad. It does. It looks concerning because he doesn't look like he's seeing the field well, which brings up a question of coaching, and is he being coached up? And truthfully, he looked better last year. And in the beginning of the season, Heisman. There's no chance he wins the Heisman at this point in time. And there is something going on with this Alabama team. Because remember the Vanderbilt game. You had their star corner kicking the football, refusing to come out of the game, Malachi Moore. And then you have their freshman, Odom, retweeting tweets from the last game. Why are you throwing balls to Ryan Williams instead of throwing jump balls to me? Come on, man. What are we doing? And then in this last game, Kendrick Law had a mental lapse, pushing the defender in the face. So now you're like, does Kalen DeBoer have control of this locker room? Does he? I'm going to give you a prime example. So Dan Lanning, when Oregon was playing Ohio State, one of their star wide receivers, Trayshawn Holden, he gets kicked out of the game for spitting on an opponent. Obviously not good, bad look, everything in between. How Dan Lanning handled that was when they went out to Purdue, Trayshawn Holden dressed out. You saw him on the sideline with his towel on. He was cheering his ass off, put up a statement of apology and everything in between. But did he step his butt on that field? No. He was there in case of an emergency. It was break glass in case of emergency. And that's what Dan Lanning did. And I'm not saying that you got to rule your roster with an iron fist, but you got to keep control of your roster. And it's just like the Texas fans. If you allow them to throw stuff on the field. Nobody gets punished. It's going to get out of control. And that's what that's what Alabama is dealing with right now. Number 5, of all the coaching changes this week, which one has surprised you the most? Man, it's probably the first one because that one's hard for me because Utah's offensive coordinator, Andy Ludwig, a guy who was my offensive coordinator at the University of Oregon for a second. I had a chance to talk to him while my son was being recruited, everything. Loved the guy, and he's resigning. I think that this signals that there are changes coming over in Utah. Maybe their head coach and Kyle Whittingham, that this may be his last year, and Morgan Scalley may be the head coach coming up next year. So that one surprised me the most because Utah's offense has been effective, but Cam Rising has not been good. And then he was hurt. So, and then they're dealing with a freshman in Isaac Wilson, who's now having to switch coordinators. And he said, yo, that kind of left me with something to deal with. I get it. So that one surprised me the most. But you also had East Carolina fire Mike Houston 1 week after he benched Jake Garcia, who had 8 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Now Michigan State, he benched him for Michigan State transfer Caden Hauser. And then over at Oklahoma, they fired their offensive coordinator, Seth Luttrell. And that was 1 week after Brett Venables said on record that he doesn't like to change coaches mid-season. But they've only had 1 touchdown pass in the last 92 pass attempts. That wasn't going to cut it. Coastal Carolina, and mind you, there's a theme here. Coastal Carolina fired their offensive coordinator, Travis Trickett, because Ethan Vasco, their quarterback, was only completing 52% of his passes. Southern Miss fired their head coach, Will Hall. Their quarterbacks have only thrown for 4 touchdowns and 9 interceptions this season. So there is a theme. This is much like the NFL now in the world of college football. You do not have a quarterback. You do not have a head coach. You do not have a quarterback. You do not have an offensive coordinator. So now the impetus on having a good quarterback and then coaching them up is going to be a higher premium. So you're actually going to see offensive coordinators prices go up, like head coaching prices go up, because they are critically important, because you cannot win football games with poor quarterback play. Or if you have a great defense, like for instance, like what you have at Michigan, you can win some games with poor quarterback play, but not too many. You guys make sure that you guys like, subscribe, tell a friend about it. I'm going to give you a second. Go down and mash the button. Hit the like button. If you're watching it on Twitter, retweet it. Go on YouTube, shoot a like, leave a comment in the comment section, because this will help the show continue to grow. And it's been better and better. We had one of the best shows of all time this week, and it is thanks to you guys. Man, I appreciate it, and I hope you guys continue to enjoy. Number 6. SMU is 6-1. ACC opponents are 12-1 in Pitt and Duke, and they don't have to play Miami or Clemson in the regular season. If the Mustangs make the college football playoff, is the $200 million in surrendered TV revenue to join the ACC the greatest risk reward of all time? Oh, in college football? Hell yeah, it is one of them, if maybe not the greatest one. He took their billionaire David Miller, former SMU hooper, way back in the 70s. This dude has bankrolled this transition. He's given $100 million of his own money and helped raise a bunch more money to make this transition happen. What? This is betting on yourself. This is Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. SMU has been waiting on this opportunity to get into a Power 5, now Power 4 conference. Been waiting on it, and they have seized the moment. So I'm telling you, they better get, if you are in the ACC or anywhere else, you better get SMU knocked back down and humbled, because if you don't, they are going to take over your conference. Now, oddly enough in this situation, because I mentioned their billionaire in David Miller, because Oliver Luck Andrew Luck's dad, who had been rumored to take over the Pac-12 commissioner job after Larry Scott. He was actually a consultant that helped SMU get the ACC deal done after their athletic director, Rick Hart, said the Big 12 wasn't interested. And Hart said that that at the time SMU to the ACC was announced, that the other Texas schools were scared of SMU. Now listen to this one. This quote is amazing. Because remember, he said the other Texas schools were scared of SMU. And he said, if there were schools in that league, he's talking about the Big 12, that were afraid of inviting us, that it was a threat to their position, then they were right to think that. And I get it. Woo, boy. Hey, that's a gangsta ass quote. And now his head coach, Rhett Lashley, their quarterback, Kevin Cummings, they're doing their best to control their own destiny. Now, if they end up in the ACC championship game because of a tiebreaker or anything else, boy, oh boy, this will be a win. And then if they end up in the college football playoff, SMU will be sitting on cloud nine. They will be ready to break that NIL bank open for any recruits. Number 7, how is Nebraska supposed to recover from what Indiana did to them last weekend? Ooh, damn, 56-7. Lord, help me, Elizabeth. This is the big one. Man, that was bad. That was bad. But the easy answer is win one more game. Because they got 5 wins right now. And them landing in their first bowl game since the Obama administration, it's going to bring some relief. Because they've had 7 consecutive losing seasons. And there's got to be some, if we're being honest, residual effects from taking the biggest loss by margin of victory over the entire weekend of the Week 8 slate. And that was to a first-time Power 4 head coach. And then you got the shine getting knocked off your 5-star freshman Dylan Raiola to the tune of 3 interceptions. Because remember, all the trailers for that game that Fox put up, baby Mahomes, I was like, don't do that to the kid. Don't do it. Is he a good quarterback? Yes. Is he cosplay Patrick Mahomes right now? Yes. But he's still figuring out who he is. You won't be calling him baby Mahomes in 2 years when he's out here carving people up. But that's the point. That's beside the point. I'm excited for the Raiola kid, but the baby Mahomes thing, a little too much. And now you got the possibility of Nebraska that they could actually still finish the season 5-7 because they got trips to Ohio State, USC, and Iowa because them ain't going to be easy. And UCLA, it might look like a layup, but what if the squad gets a little bit beat up against Ohio State and as they're heading to UCLA? And UCLA seems to be moving in the right direction. Because after everything that Nebraska has done to build this roster and the coaching staff, it has to be wild to think that Kurt Singletti over at Indiana could be pulling up in Bloomington with a handful of James Madison transfers and treating their roster like a JV squad in every facet of the game in that 56-7 loss. So Indiana fans, I know that they didn't handle that well at all. Number 8, Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnick is on pace to have 3,400 yards, 44 combined rushing and passing touchdowns, not far off from Trevor Lawrence's numbers. What does Cade Klubnick have to do what Trevor Lawrence never did and win a Heisman Trophy? He's got to keep on winning. He's got to keep on winning. But then this does beg the question, right? With the playoff now in place and schools have a chance to play up to 16 games, should the Heisman Trophy be moved back in order to factor in at least 1 or 2 of the playoff games? Should that be a question? Because really the only people in the playoff are really going to be the people who really have a chance to win the Heisman Trophy. I'm not making the rules. It shouldn't be like that, but that's the reality. Because this Clemson team is going to be done with ACC play by November 16th. So that's a whole different story because they got Louisville on November 2nd, Virginia Tech on November 9th, Pittsburgh on November 16th, and then they got Citadel and then South Carolina. What? I'm just saying. All right. Next question up. here on the Unafraid Show Mailbag. Your questions sent in to I'm Mad, IMMAD, at Unafraid Show, or at George Wrighster, or at Unafraid Show. Number 9. Illinois beat Michigan at their own game, winning 21-7 with only 80 passing yards from Luke Altmaier. Meanwhile, Michigan is on their third quarterback, Jack Tuttle. Obviously, Davis Warren and Alex Orji have also played. And he threw the ball 32 times. It seems like the Wolverines have no identity. Is Sherone Moore in danger of being a one and done? 100%. Because you have guys like Dave Portnoy and other people who are willing to put up, if he's willing to put up $3 million a year for a transfer quarterback, what do you think he's willing to do for a head coach? Now, Sherone Moore, there is no identity. They want to be a team that runs the football. Then you throw the ball 32 times. Then in a 2-score game, which was a 1-score game, the majority of it. That's not going to cut it. So Michigan has to figure out who they are, and they got to get a competent quarterback and play a system and just live with it. The season is not going to go great. You've already lost 3 games. Just find a system and stick with it instead of all this wishy-washy, switch it up stuff. All right, number 10. Who is in a better position right now to be a fan of their school in 2025? USC fans or Auburn fans? Damn. Okay. The answer is, the answer should be USC. Because USC is moving in the right direction. I don't know how many times I have to tell people this. They're moving in the right direction. They are more physical. They're more tough. Their defense is more sound. Now, are they winning games? No. But all 4 of their losses have come by a total of 14 points. That's a play here, play there. And people get focused on the wins and losses. But the team looks better. It takes 21 days to build a habit. It takes 21 days to change your whole defense and your mentality as a team. And they've changed that. They're only 7 games into it, so they still got 14 more. But if they get blown out in a couple games this year, it is going to absolutely 100% fall apart. Just telling you. But now over on the other side, though, you got Auburn. Auburn, they got 3 1-score losses. With improved quarterback play, they could be winning more games. So I know that Auburn fans are upset because they're like, dude, Brian Harsin had a better record. But here's what I would implore Auburn fans to do. Do not be, finicky. Do not be tinkerers. Don't be tinkerers. Just do the right thing. Keep your head coach. Give him some rope. And I know it's going to be hard to stomach. But if after next year it's not better, make a move. All right, next question up. Number 11. Who is owed a bigger apology from early season critics? Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame or Deion Sanders? Oh, this is an easy one. This is Deion Sanders. Now, Marcus Freeman, he doesn't deserve an apology because he lost at NIU, Northern Illinois, at home. There's no apology for that. He's just making amends right now by still winning all the games. Because if they finish 11-1, then yes, that NIU is going to be a stain, but they're still going to get in the playoff. That's going to be the most important thing. So, but yes, there's no apology for that. You shouldn't have lost that damn game. Deion Sanders, though, yes, he deserves an apology. Paul Feinbaum has already given him an apology. They are 5-2. And as loud as you're supposed to make noise when you didn't like the stuff with the transfers, you didn't like all the noise talking about the guys who didn't feel like they had a shot and all of this stuff. High school recruiting, this defense ain't going to be ish. The running game, the O-line ain't going to be ish. Well, you know what? He got this team playing competent. They fight hard. The defense is better. Now, does Deion still need to recruit high school better? 100%. The guys he gets are usually studs, but he needs more of them. But an apology is definitely owed to Deion Sanders, and now it looks like what he's doing is sustainable. Last question up. How does it feel to be a UC Davis fan right now? The best team in California. Hey, baby, UC Davis, the Aggies, baby. UCLA is 2-5. Stanford's 2-5. Cal Poly is 2-5. Who UC Davis beat. Cal is 3-4, and I know that Cal beat UC Davis, but that was the first game of the season. We wasn't ready. USC is 3-4. Sac State is 3-4. San Diego State is 3-3. And San Jose State is 5-2. And the UC Davis Aggies sitting at 7-1, baby. Best team in Cali right now. Talk to your pastor. Go cry to somebody else if you think otherwise. You guys, this is the Unafraid Show Mailbag. I'm George Wrighster. Make sure that you like, subscribe, tell a friend about the show. Peace out. Catch you guys later. And stay on the channel. There's plenty more here.